About 4 years ago, I was at a press conference where you introduced the Nordic Fight Night concept. That concept has 1 year running until the end of 2016.
The TV deal has 1 year running, but the concept will go on.
Yeah.
But the TV deal will also be okay.
Okay. Have you talked to BSZ about it, or is...
Yeah, cool. We talk every week, every while, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, this is a big night, December the 12th.
Yeah, but
yeah, no, I'm optimistic always, you know.
Okay.
I think we obviously needed time. You know, you see it obviously in Denmark. You see it more from a Danish perspective. Of course, the first couple of years we're very heavily involved with Kessler.
Right.
We're now obviously looking for a new Kessler, so to speak, in Denmark. There's no secret in that. Will Patrick come out on top? Will Rudy make another run at the top? We're saying that we'll find out December the 12th. That's why for me it's not just a hate match. You know, you're a boxing insider. You know, we see hate matches all the time. You know,
right.
But in Denmark it is a rare occurrence. You know, I think either way you look at it, I think it's a good thing that's for Danish boxing, because it definitely raises the profile.
About the Nordic Fight Night concept,
yeah.
It's always been a matter of debate, the split between Danish, Swedish, Norwegian. Yeah. Can you bring it together, and how would you capture the local?
Yeah, it's not so much. You know, the aim of the Nordic Fight Night is not to have a Nordic champion. The aim is to develop guys from the Nordic regions into world champions. You know, I think if you look at, especially in Sweden, there's an abundance of talent. You know, in Denmark it's a bit tougher. You know, we obviously have the Nielsen brothers, Kalle Sauerland, there's some other very good names around. You know, but it's not a talent-rich market. So what we've had to do is we've had to cipher out what the best is. We feel that we have the best in Denmark. We're always on the lookout if there's anything new. We're always interested, but we're quite happy with what we have. In Sweden, we're spoiled for choice. You know, if I look at an Anthony Yigit, a Wallin who's impressing me the way he's developing, and of course leading it up, Eric Skoglund, and you know, also Arlene, who had a terrible loss through laziness, nothing else, just pure laziness. And I think he's had a kick up the arse, and he realises now it's the real thing. You know, and Arlene is a guy who can go on to do very special things in the sport. I feel, you know, he's a real natural talent. Clara Svensson, who's had big viewing figures in Sweden, and you know, in Norway, yeah, we didn't renew the contract with Cecilia, which, if I look now, she doesn't box very often, so we were a bit disappointed that we didn't renew, but on the other hand, you know, it wasn't a project that was going to last forever. Let's put it that way. You know, Cecilia's got a couple of fights left in her, and you know, there's some talent that's coming through. You know, when I look at Havnar, or I look at Tim Robert Liao, you know, so the numbers are good in Norway and they're good in Sweden. The ones in Denmark we're working on. You know, there's that you need to have the names in Denmark, and there, you know, Patrick was on a very good way until he went to Moscow and put in a terrible performance. You know, I'll have to differ from what my brother said. I thought he booked disastrously that night. I thought he had a terrible preparation. I thought he took the fight totally wrong, and I think he also was a very young kid with a good bit of talent, but he was almost an arrogance before the fight. And you know, this is boxing, and at the top level, and Dmitry Shudinov, I wouldn't even say is top level, but it was, let's say, it's approaching world class at least. And it's always difficult to travel to Russia and places like this to fight, but really that was a terrible night. But I think Patrick, you know, I had in the dressing room afterwards, I told Patrick my feelings, and I think he's, you know, when a fighter at that age loses, two things happen. One, he just melts, or B, he comes back stronger. And I think Patrick, so far, has showed resolution that he takes it a bit differently. You know, I say so far because he is a young guy still. And, you know, I think December the 12th will answer all the questions. You know, they can talk about. I heard Joey. I didn't understand. Unfortunately, didn't understand the Markussen trainer, but Joey, for example, I agree with Joey. You know, he's got a box. The other guy's going to try and punch. Well, we all know that. But in these types of fights, you know, an old Tyson quote: "Once you get hit, the plans go out the window," and that's what we'll be here. The tactics on December the 12th, I think will be difficult to instill in the fighters in the first few rounds. I think after that it will settle down and it will become like any other fight. But in the first few rounds, it will be wild.
To go back again to when you introduced the Danish Fight Night originally, I remember you talked about making the connection with the audience. And of course, this fight has at least it's caught the imagination of the audience. But in general, it seems there's been a slight problem with the Nordic Fight Night, that the Danish audience could not connect to the Swedes and Norwegians and the other way around. So now when you've got a foothold in Sweden now, it's more difficult apparently with Norway. We thought a year ago that it would happen otherwise. But do you think will that mean that you will split it up a little more so you have a Danish leg and a Swedish leg? And
absolutely. Well, I'd be robbing fighters of fortunes if I didn't. You know, if Skoglund will be, you know, he's getting a new contract now. He fights at home. You know, it's a different thing to having a Swede fight in Denmark. You know, for me, I've always said this law when we do it in 2015. We talk about human rights. You're trying to tell me if you're not allowed to do your job and you're not allowed to earn in your own country. And I said it still to the Norwegians. I said, you know, it's, for me, ridiculous. You know, it's not that we're talking about a sport that's allowed in one or two countries in places of the world where let's say the Wild West. This is a sport which is not football or an NFL, but it's a very large fringe sport which occurs all over the world, and you know, so I think that whenever I hear the laws in Sweden in old times and they've taken the right steps, and in Norway it's still a bit lacking. But to answer your question, yes, it will definitely create different markets. You can see that now already.
So that what you did in September, which was more having a Swedish show and Danish show,
correct,
is what's going to happen more, maybe?
It will happen more and more. On the other hand, I think it's unrealistic for us to ask our TV partner for 18 dates a year. So we're going to have to have a blend of, you know, 1 or 2 Danes fighting in Sweden, you know, to keep also the guys who are fighting 4, 6, even 8 rounders, to keep them active. You know, the secret, or our secret of success over the last 37 years has been activity. You look at all the champions we've built, and we keep them very, very active early on. Not against the best opposition, you know, but you match them moving upwards. And a lot of the guys are now coming to the stage where the levels are raised, and then we'll see who's left and who's not. Anthony Yigit's a good example. Now, he is a real step up in December. I think Anthony is a potential absolute superstar in that division for the future.
You said to me at one time that you, in many ways, you thought the same way as Markus Palle.
Well, promoters always think the same way somewhere.
Now Palle is back. What do you say about that?
Well, back in which sense?
As a promoter.
He's promoting?
Yeah.
Where?
He's having a show on the 4th of December.
Is he? Yeah. Okay. Who's boxing then?
Lolenga Mock is the man.
Lolenga Mock?
Yeah.
As a promoter, or is he boxing?
No.
He's boxing?
Yeah.
Fully retired. Okay, no, well, I mean, he just lost Eric Skoglund, so I don't you know. I don't know. Is Markussen promoting that fight?
Yes. He signed 5 new Danish fighters.
Which one?
He signed 5 new Danish fighters.
5 new Danish fighters? Well, I'd like to see them, because we've been through this market from every gym in the country to everywhere. So I'd be surprised if maybe we must have missed 5.